Hey guys, today I'm going to share a few different varieties of succulents that are really easy to grow and really easy to find at your local hardware store. So stick around to find out what they are. All right, so the first in the list that I wanted to share are Haworthia. There's tons of different varieties. They're all really unique. But today we're going to focus in on one specific type, Haworthia Fasciata. It is very, very widely available at your local hardware stores. You almost can't walk into the garden center at Home Depot or Lowe's without seeing one of these. So some really great things about it, especially for me since I'm in North Texas, right? That's USDA hardiness zone 8A. So we get a lot of high heat, and we actually have some fairly harsh winters. And we also get a lot of intense sun. And this thing does it all. It can take extremely high heat, and it can take very, very direct sunlight for long periods of time. 8 to 10 hours, easy. It can also tolerate low light. So it makes a great indoor plant or a great starter succulent for folks who have never grown succulents before. A lot of the times we get succulents and we think this will be great on my kitchen table, on my kitchen counter, on my desk at work. And really, most succulents, they're desert plants and they need to be outside. They will not do well indoors. But this guy right here will do great indoors. It won't grow and thrive or bloom indoors, but it won't die either. If you don't know anything, what do you do to care for a Haworthia? First, you're going to want soil that drains quick. So get some succulent soil from the store, toss some rocks in there with it, mix it up, put it in a pot. Make sure the pot has a drainage hole in it. Don't put your Haworthia in a really cute glass jar that you found at the thrift store that has no hole in it. So soil with some rocks, pot with a drainage hole, stick it where you want it. If you're going to put it inside, get it kind of near a window, in a room that has a window. You can't put it in a room that doesn't have a window, like a bathroom or something like that. But as long as it's got some sunlight somewhere indoors, it'll do fine. If you find that it's not doing fine, toss it outside, put it in full sun, and it'll grow, it'll thrive. The second variety we're going to talk about today are aloe. There are tons of different aloes. They've been hybridized to death. The hardiness of them is all over the place. I've got about 8 different types here, and we're going to focus in on one of them today. I ended up having a really hard time deciding which aloe to talk about. Obviously, we all know aloe vera. It's the most common one you find at the store. It's also what we put on our skin after we get a sunburn, right? We're all very familiar with this one. However, it has a lot of flaws that I think make it not a very good starter aloe for most beginners. So instead, we're going to talk about blue elf aloe. Also very easily available, much easier to grow than aloe vera. Okay, so blue elf aloe, super easy to care for, very basic succulent needs. It likes well-draining soil and a pot with a drainage hole. It's hardy to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So here in North Texas, zone 8A, it can stay out all winter long. Now, we do have that rare moment where we drop down below 20 degrees. If that's the case, just cover it with a blanket and it'll be just fine. It can tolerate full sun, but if you're going to put it in full sun, make sure it's morning sun and make sure it's not too long. So I would say maybe 4 to 6 hours of full sun. After that, it's going to get a little bit too intense for this little guy and he will sunburn. Full bright sun for a little bit in the morning, bright shade the rest of the day, and this thing will do great. The last on our list of easy to grow succulents for beginners is Graptopetalum. Graptopetalum? It's one of those. I've got a couple different varieties here. We're going to zoom in on one of them here in a second. This is the Graptopetalum Paraguayense. It's cold hardy down to 5 degrees, which means it can live outside year round in many climates. And it's really easy to find at your local hardware store, which makes it perfect for new growers. Graptopetalum, just like many of the other succulents we've talked about, need a pot with drainage and well-draining soil. They come in a lot of different varieties. They're very forgiving. Our dog actually knocked this one over last year and completely broke the stem in half. And I was really upset because I thought, great, there went one of my favorite plants. But what happened is I got 3 new plants out of it, and the old one that was knocked off is doing just fine right here. This one is variegated, which means that it loses some of its color, which does not mean it's dying. It'll lose its color on some of the leaves like it's doing right now here in the center, and then that color will come back over time on different leaves. It creates this really unique pattern that's very highly sought after in the succulent world, and actually probably in the houseplant world as well. It also will turn a variety of different colors in sun stress. You can kind of see in this one, I've got to be really careful about the way I hold it because it's a hanging plant, but you can see this one has a range of colors: green, blue, pink, orange. It's all in here, and that's all because of sun stress. It'll change different colors in cold stress while it sits outside over winter. It's a really neat plant, very forgiving, hard to kill, really fun. Last but not least, I wanted to give a few honorable mentions. This is Kalanchoe Thyrsiflora, aka flapjack, and it's hardy to 55 degrees. This is Euphorbia Lactea Cristata, aka coral cactus, and it is hardy to 30 degrees. And this is Kalanchoe Tomentosa, aka panda plant, and it's hardy down to 20 degrees. You can find all of these very easily at your hardware store. You might have seen these inside Lowe's or Home Depot with some of their tropical plants. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I know when I first started out with succulents, I killed a lot of them because I didn't know what to look for or how to care for them. Let me know what some of your questions are about caring for succulents.